All right.
All right, all right. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Nia Akoma, happy Akoma Day 6. Virtue is, I'm talking slow.
Fondness and goodwill.
Fondness and goodwill, liking the person that you love,
Mhm.
and having a genuine friendship. And the principle is unified body, the coalescing of the family body, the communal body, but also your self-care for your own personal body, your love and respect for your partner's body temple as well. And so in the Soulmate series, let me tell you, I had a lot of great people. If you ever, I'm from New Jersey, so if you ever, and I'm from an era of hip hop, there was a great song by Run DMC called Run's House. And he started out with saying, we had a lot of great people on this stage tonight, but I want y'all to know one thing. And then he said, this is my house. So he went into that. So I like that little intro. So I'm going to say we have had a lot of exceptional soulmate stories thus far. But this couple right here, if I could say, where do I look in the world and see us? This is the couple. Not only because they probably are the only couple just like us who do what we do for a living, but because they're really real with it. They bring their family along. They represent a certain authenticity that I tremendously respect. We're super busy, but whenever my mind is stale, whenever I'm in a funk, whenever I need to step away from myself and stop thinking about what I'm doing, who do I go to? I always go check the Ma'at's page, see what they doing, see what they talking about. Almost damn near all the time, we talking about the same stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm always, like if my battery's drained, I'm like, you know what? Let me call Ayize, or let me call, let me look and see what they doing. And like, oh, they doing something dope. I love it. I'll make some comments and then go back. I'm charged back up. So this couple is really our battery charge, and the Washington does the same thing. This is our battery charge. This is our comrades in this work. This is a couple who I'm sure that you know them because they all over the globe. They mega, so they are out here doing this work. Be intentional, Black love and marriage. What else, y'all? Tell me what else.
Therapy for Black folks.
Okay, therapy for Black folks.
Yeah.
They really walking this talk, and they have this moniker that I love, where they say stop playing and start pushing, and really that's what we all need to do. Stop playing, because you should enjoy yourself and have fondness and goodwill, but this thing ain't a joke either. You got to start pushing and be intentional and be purposeful, be connected to your purpose. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have them really introduce themselves. I just want to say how much we love them as the introduction. But Ayize and Aiyana, my aunt, welcome to the Soulmate Stories, and tell who you are and what you do.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you. Yeah, so
happy to be here.
we're really excited, and we do go way back with the e-doos, and we appreciate the love and positive energy, and we're happy to be here on you all's platform. And so again, my name is Ayize Aiyana, and this is my incredible, amazing, beautiful, fabulous wife, Aiyana. And we've been together for 25 years, married for 18. Our story goes way back to high school. We're high school sweethearts. And we do this work. And so, not only do we do it professionally, but every day, all day in our relationship, we're putting one foot in front of the other and making things hot, making things spicy, making things saucy, making things cool, as we connect in with each other. And not just that, all of that. And not just that between she and I, but between, us as well as our children too. So we have 5 children. They keep us on our toes every day, all day too. And so again, we're thankful to be here. And we go way back to high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So
What you got to say?
I'll just add to that I'm just happy to be up in the house with the Edus, because, they talk about you guys, I'm talking to everybody, but, you talk about us. And when you're looking for, or when I'm looking for, when we're looking for someone who is in the correct location, we talk about location all the time. What's your location? What's your reference point? Where are you anchored? All we got to do is look to the Edus, because we already know where you all are anchored. And so when you get confused and like, what's going on? Like, wait a minute, I see this paradigm over here and this, let me just go to the Edus and see what they're talking about, because as much as you all have done out here to, get folks culturally right, and understand how to be in right relationship. I mean, it is amazing to me. And that you have not wavered. I mean, you have not wavered over all of the years. So I just wanted to give you all some respect, because you all impress upon us quite a bit when we're looking at the things that we're doing, and we're looking for colleagues and folks. And sometimes you have folks who you can look to in certain areas, because like, oh, that's good, but it doesn't have, but where's the cultural aspect, and how does that apply to Black folks? Or is this really ours? That kind of stuff, you can only go to certain places. And we definitely look to you all, because you all are leaders in that way. And so I just want to say I appreciate y'all for having us on. And essentially, like my husband said, we've been doing this for some time, but we have a coaching practice, and we have a membership program. And so we coach individuals and couples, and we have a community of folks who come together, whether they are not attached at the moment, or they are in relationship and committed relationship, or married. And there are a lot of opportunities for folks to be almost every daggone day throughout the month, in addition to their one-on-one coaching, to be interacting with other folks, other couples, men and men, women and women, everybody together, looking at our own personal stuff in terms of our own personal past, and then our collective path. So that's what we've been called to do. And like my mother always says, she said it to me not that long ago, just look at what God is doing and then join him. And so for us, this wasn't a path that we're like, we're going to do this and then this and then this and then this. We always been in mental health and emotional well-being, but God, put this together. And so like, okay, well, let's just join you, since this is where you are leading us, and he's led us here today. So thank you.
Even in terms of us connecting with y'all, like real talk, some 20 something years ago, I got this tattoo. This is the Acoma tattoo. And I don't know if I showed this with y'all before, but this is in my eye feather right here in the middle. And so when I stumbled across y'all's book, I was like, yo, I got the tattoo, the Acoma tattoo, and now, I'm rocking with the Acoma House Initiative. Like, so it's all been divinely ordained.
You told us about that, but I never saw it. That's dope.
Yeah.
And we are centered around the eye. So when we call y'all, I will forever tell this story, man. Like we started out and we were in grad school together, and we were like, we're going to make this firm, and we really want to serve Black people. And we always had a heart of unifying. And I think that's why our relationship with y'all has lasted so much. Some other people, we met them or we reached out to them, either A, it was fatty, trendy, and not authentic, or B, they had like an energy, like they don't really want to unify. They felt competition or something. And we're just like, that's, we're not about that. We're very clear on who we are and what our purpose is. And we come from the mindset, like with y'all, we respect y'all highly. You know what I mean? But we don't feel like we tread on each other at all. Like we feel like what you're doing, we can't do that. That's for you to do, and vice versa. So we can stand next to each other, and we need like 300 Edus in my eyes out here. 1,000, like there will be enough of us. But when it comes to the level of class, when it comes to the level of the craft of what we're doing here, really understanding it. Like, I talk to Ayize sometimes, and I'll be like, yo, man, like every damn body pops up, like they some coach or something. And I know that is an entrepreneurial trend, so I'm not mad at that. And I support all the coaches out there, relationships and all of that. But some people, like, you don't really need to be out here doing what you're doing. And I mean, you'll find that out when you can't do it well, you know what I mean, or can't do it, effectively, or over a period of time. But again, like Aiyana said about us, from the moment we saw y'all, we was like, now this is refreshing. Like this right here, what they on is refreshing. And I am always like, I don't want to intrude, but I really want to feel in touch, because I'm always looking for inspiration. I'm always striving to understand how people do what they do and why they do it, what is driving them to do it. This is a gratifying work. It's a beautiful work, but it's not an easy work. And to do it for that long that you guys have been doing it is really impressive. And then above all day, I was telling Brother Mustafa, that's coming up tomorrow, as we were organizing all of these soulmate stories, these people that we love so much, I really wanted y'all closer to the beginning, because I was like, people kind of fall off and I want them to see them aunts and this couple, like in the first 2 days, people fall off. Yeah. But we've gotten a lot of love from around the world, and people, certain people have not fallen off. Of course, the majority of the people, the whole world, well, the whole country is focused on Valentine's Day. So during the first 2 days, you're getting people who are not interested at all, really, but you're getting a lot of people. But then you kind of get this core that kind of hangs in. But what I started to see as we started to look at the virtues and the principles of each day, it was amazing who's on each day, because fondness and goodwill represent you two very much, like just in your personal relationship, but also the way you deliver what you do. And now I'm in a few groups, I'm with a few therapists and stuff like that. And even though I love this work, a lot of times if we have private calls and stuff, it just starts to sound like Charlie Brown. It's like, and I just be like, okay, y'all, I'm going to go. You know what I mean? Like I have some stuff to do. This has been great. You're trying to do the industry stuff and stay abreast of what's happening and stuff like that. And I remember a few months ago, I called Ayize. I said, hey man, I'm out, yo. I'm just out. Like I'm not trying to get that licensure. I'm not, I'm just out, bro. I'm going to Neptune. You know what I mean? I was done. And he said some really profound stuff, but I still was like, I'm done. I ain't getting it. But in any event, I always love that about y'all. The authenticity, the fondness and goodwill, the honesty that you had with each other, the way you were able to, it was really you and the Califanis that we had yesterday. Califanis taught us something about how they move with their children. But it was y'all, like, I was like, hey, look at this video. Them I show their children. You know what I mean? Like, because we used to be like, get off the screen. Like trying to hide our children, because I just didn't feel comfortable with it. But then I just thought, hey, my aunts got the camera in their living room. You know what I mean? We always be up against a wall, like, don't let anybody see our house. You know what I mean? We ain't ashamed of our house. It's just like we're trying to maintain something, you know what I mean, of our own. But that really has been inspiring about you all. So we love y'all for that. We appreciate y'all. When we called y'all was like, bet, let's meet. And we met, we got together, and I just, since that time, we have loved y'all. So we always try to check in. But what I want to know, I know you high school sweethearts, which is a beautiful story. I don't think we've had that one yet on this Soulmate Stories.
I don't think so.
Tell us how it went down. Like, did you, was somebody on the wrestling team, football, you was the cheerleader, or what? How did it go? How did y'all meet?
Yeah, so back in the day when we were both in high school, I was a basketball player, and I like to think that I could still get busy every now and then. So yeah, I'm playing ball, and real talk, I had moved up here. Now I'm on the West Coast now, so I had moved from Virginia back home to Maryland. So I was going to a high school in Maryland, and playing basketball, doing my thing. And during that time period, because I had moved from Virginia back up north to, Maryland, my sense of style, my appetite for clothing, it was a little bit delayed. And so, in many respects, like, I would get talked about, I would get joned on. And so some people called me, Obama. Yeah, but because I ain't talking about you. No, I'm just speaking in general. but because I was able to get busy on the court, like I was able to compensate and people ain't talk too much stuff. And so to make a long story short, one day, you know, I'm outside the cafeteria. This is my first time ever seeing her. One day when I'm outside the cafeteria in high school, I see a big ruckus coming, you know, from out of the cafeteria. And there's this, you know, there's this girl who's like, you know, real loud, real boisterous. Apparently a fight had taken place. And, you know, I'm seeing like this real big scuffle. And when I saw it, like, you know, my wife, she'll probably tell you that she was on the losing end of that battle. But when I saw her, I was like, wow, she caught my eye. And so I did not interact with her. And there was no exchange. I just saw her and I was like, she cute. But who is this person? And so from there, we eventually discovered that both of our families were a part of an organization called.
Let me just ask this question. Why? How was it relevant to say that I was on the losing end of that battle? How was that relevant to the story? I just want to know why how is that relevant to what you're saying right now?
It's like my clothes wasn't really relevant.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm just trying to paint the picture. But in any event, like we found out we were both a part of this organization called Tots and Teens, which is a family-based organization that helps, you know, Black folks really come together and connect. And so we were both a part, our families were a part of this organization. And so I saw her again in that organization. And, you know, one night we had like this Christmas ball, this Christmas gathering. And at that particular time, she was wearing this dress that had her back out. So I'm like, yo, you know, and it was a tasteful dress. So, but I mean, she's 17, 17 years. It was tasteful, but the fact that I was able to see her back, I'm talking to my brother and I'm like, yo, I'm about to book her. And, you know, and he like, whatever, you're not going to do anything. And I said, I'm going to get her number. And so I don't even know if I approached her that night, but what?
Let's speed it up. So let me just say this. So he's talking about he was about to book me, but we were in the organization. The night ended. We did exchange eyes, right? Yeah. We looked at each other, and then we had these little, you know, like the group was set up so that teenagers came together and met and different by age ranges and stuff, right? It's again, African Americans coming together and putting their kids together to do things and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, I was like, you know, I'm pretty expressive. So I was the president of the little teenage group or whatever, adolescent situation. And I was saying like, okay, so we need to plan this or whatever. And you probably should call me because we need to organize, And he would just be like, he ain't called me. I was like, well, let me just give you my number. And I'm saying to everybody, like, everybody, let's all get on. He wouldn't get on the call and call nobody. I mean, you ain't booked nobody. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I finally, like, probably like the third or fourth meeting was like, so, and it was like literally stuff we had to do. It was stuff we had to do for the group. And he was just like that. This is how he looking right now. It was just, and I was like, you need to call, like, you need to do blah, blah, blah. So anyway, long story short, we came together eventually. He eventually called me, took forever. And we slowly started to go out. But again, this is our senior year of high school. Yeah. So we came together in our senior year. And from there, I guess the rest was history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that coming together in your senior year, were you certain that you would be married? Did you go to different colleges or?
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to different schools. Let me give you the bullets, then you can tell me which one you want to use. We went to different schools. We was cheating on each other. We was coming back together. We were having fun. I always knew he was the one, and he knew I was the one. But then we would be, you know, he'd come visit me in Atlanta because I went to Clark Atlanta University. He was at Bowie in Maryland. And we always stayed. We never really ever officially broke up. Never. I mean, with all of the foolishness or whatever, you know, we didn't. And and eventually I came home from college and we were together. We still had more drama and stuff with, you know, I had the daddy issues and wasn't really trying to fully lean in. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I wasn't. And then, you know, we got married at the age of 24 and
wow.
we went from there. So yeah, like we were basically growing up together.
But I did know.
But he did treat me like I was his wife from day zero. Day zero.
Yeah. I always love when people have that. They were together when they were very young or high school. I think it's an amazing time because we talk about the science of soul mating, and in the traditional story, people they know that, you know, two people will be together. So in an indigenous story, you're like this person and this person, their purpose is aligned. So we are putting them next to each other as children and cultivating a friendship that we know will turn into love.
Right.
But I know in contemporary times, it's a challenge to get together so young.
Yeah.
Because you're growing up, you're kind of living your own life. And although you feel a connection to someone, you are exploring as teenagers and young adults. So I always like wonder what that's like to meet someone so young, because I got married later in my 20s, but also the challenges of it. Because we always tell people you don't want to be you want to be roaming like rogue for 30, 40 years, because sometimes, you know, in our communities, you're still having children, you're still doing some of the things that can be create more challenges.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would actually say to people who are younger, who are considering staying together, but who doubt that they can do it?
Yeah, I guess what I would say is that it's really important to give yourself grace. And when I say give yourself grace and to give your partner grace, I mean, it sounds good now. I'm 20 something years beyond that point, but it's really important because, again, the expectations that I had of my then girlfriend were really unrealistic expectations. So I was actually placing something on her that should not have been. And it was unfair. It wasn't right. It was, I mean, the female brain isn't like fully developed until the age of like 24 years old. And so we're talking about 18, 19, 20, and yeah, mine either. And so again, there's this maturation process that has to take place just biologically, physiologically, in order for you to get to a space where certain things are concretized. And back then I didn't know that. And so for the people who are young, I definitely would like them to know that it's possible, but you need to be able to give each other some grace because you're still growing. And it's not just in that 18 to 25-year-old time frame. I mean, that's for the rest of your life. You're still growing, you're still evolving. And if you try to think that like she gonna have it all together at 18, 19, 20, or 21, you're just a kid. And I'm starting to see that more because we got a 19-year-old. And so some of the decisions that he's making, I'm like, you know, that's a dumb decision. And that's not, you know, but at the same time too, he has to go through that process in that space. And so when I was 18, 19 years old, I'm thinking I'm on top of the world and that, you know, all of my decisions are the right decisions. I'm thinking that, yo, you are my wife, you know, even though she was just my girlfriend. And, you know, for me to place that on her was unfair. You know, she's beautiful, she's attractive, and she got a right to experience and develop as she's going through college the same way that I do. But, you know, I would just say give each other some grace as you're growing together.
Wow. Now, how you know, because when I see y'all now, I always see a strong family component and like around you two. Now, I don't know if it's your family, Aiyana. Like, what role was your families playing, your parents and the extended family around the development of your relationship? Because you were together very young, probably certainly before you left your family and went on to college. You had already started dealing with one another. So how were they, you know, were they saying, hey, you know, you're going away to college, it's over, or stay true, or what, you know, like what was?
I appreciate that question. Yeah, I really do. Because it's showing that, you know, it's not just about the two people who are in relationship, right? It's a communal thing. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So our families very early on really became connected because they obviously were in that organization. So they already had a connection, right, and knew each other. But also through different events, they would come together. I don't think, I don't know about your parents, but I don't think my parents had any sense that, oh, he was going to be the one. I remember when I was in college, I got a tattoo with our names on it. My mother was like, oh, Lord, no, you didn't do that, right? Yeah, on my back.
She got the tattoo first. Right?
Yeah, I got the tattoo, right, because I knew like that whole soulmating piece. I mean, I went and got some tarot cards read back in the day, and it was like, it's your soulmate. And I was like, I know, you know. Right. So, I mean, I definitely, I knew, I didn't fully understand it, but I just knew that there was this strong connection. And so just to get back to your question though, our parents were involved in many ways. I mean, you know, Ayize went through a time, I think you're okay, because you be sharing this all the time about
I mean, I don't know what you're about to say, but I'm fine. I mean, you can go ahead and say.
Oh, okay. But he went through a time when, you know, as in college, when he experienced some depression and that kind of thing, and was really kind of going through. And my mother really helped him to get into counseling.
Yeah.
You know, his mom was always reaching out to me and that kind of thing. And not because they were, I think, guiding us to be together or anything, but because we were so connected and we were like pretty much, you know, we were each other's worlds, probably a little enmeshed, probably a little overly so, that they were just kind of showing up for us as young people, and so we were in a lot of common events, and I was over his house. If I wasn't over his house, he was over my house. So in some way or another, you know, my father was often talking to him. I was talking to his parents, and they were, I think, more than anything, they were models for us in terms of the fact that, you know, my mom was remarried, but has been with my dad now for 20 some years. His parents have been together for 40 something years, married. And so they were just stable. They were just always stable. And if I was having an issue or I wasn't sure, I'm mad at him, you know, just ask me a question, you know, and they're not even really looking for my answer, just asking me a question so that I could be like, let me think on that, you know. So having that around, I think, was stabilizing in more ways than one.
And then my father, he will say to this day that he was relieved when Aiyana came into my life, because I was actually in a relationship dating a girl that he didn't particularly care for. And so when she came onto the scene, not only was it just her energy, but she's a PK. So both of her parents are pastors, and that stability is really important. And so he was appreciative of who she is as a person, but also the family dynamic and the community that she comes from. And he had some sense of awareness that you know, she has some principles behind her that are really grounding and can be a benefit to me. And so,
and peep this. And then on the flip side, you know, when we were in college, Ayize was coming to visit me. I don't know if it was the first time you were exposed to the S.O.U.L.MATE Society in Atlanta. So he started to you know, have his thinking and his paradigm expanded, right, into traditional African religion. And he started sharing some things with me, and I was like, oh, he just pulled the rug from up under me, and I was like, where am I? It's more out here than Jesus, Lord, what's going on? Right, you know. And then, you know, then because I'm a Leo, then I got mad, like, y'all didn't tell me this more than one way. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was raw with it, like, you know, it ain't just Jesus. And my parents was like, oh Lord. So then, you know, so then they were just kind of looking at him like, you know, shaking it. And now if you look going forward, you know, right, what are you doing to our child, right? My parents are so evolved and progressive in their thinking and know all about these multiple ways that practice different things, even though they are solidly Christian and unapologetically Black and all of that, right? But that wouldn't, I mean, it's about our family's evolution, that his evolution expanded everybody's evolution, you know. And then like you said, you know, your dad was appreciative of what I brought in terms of some of the community aspect of being in an environment of Black folks in the church world and that kind of thing. So I just think that's interesting.
I think that family, you know, a thread that we're hearing about the very successful soulmate stories is some family anchor. Either we're moving away from a trauma, or as Nawasha always says, we're either moving away or we're moving towards something. We're moving away from something we saw and we don't want to be like in our family, or we're moving toward what we saw and what we came up in. And Ayize, I never told you this, but you always remind me of my good friend Dwayne Hollingshed, and had a very, very stable family. In fact, when I was growing up, I borrowed his family, like as a paradigm for my family. And just to hear that your parents have been together so long, that makes a lot of sense. But what you're saying, Aiyana, about your family, I could always tell you were PK, like you got that energy to me. And you know what I think is beautiful, what you're saying about your parents, and I tell people all the time, because like us, y'all work with all kinds of people. And I feel like the most polarizing people who are very rigid around other people's designation, like whatever they are about. You know, when you really connected to your family through dysfunction, through whatever, you're going to see somebody with a different religion, You're going to see somebody with a different sexual orientation. You're going to see somebody who, like we heard from Californians, like their child married a European. You're going to see somebody who is different than what you stand on. And now, how do you love your family member and agree to disagree on core beliefs or on how you show up in the world, but still have a ongoing relationship? It takes a little bit of detachment. It takes a little bit of humbling to recognize whatever you're passionate about. You know, I used to say all the time when we used to speak, I would say, this is our life's work. This is what we're passionate about. This is the most important thing to us. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, just throw it in the trash, because it doesn't mean anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and people would always laugh in the audience and stuff, and I'm saying, like, this is our stuff, but you don't got to be on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, the things that we stand firm on, we stand firm on it. But even just having a bunch of children already, my 3 sons, you're like, everybody used to work for the Coleman House Initiative, and we laugh and say they all quit. Like they don't want to do this. Now we got one daughter who she kind of seeming like, I want to take this ball and run with it, but that's what she's saying now at 11, 12. But so we'll see. But the boys like I don't even want to know nothing about relationships. Let me just go out here and try to figure it out on my own. I'm like, hey man, I like every year I
write a relationship.
Yeah, we did write 4 books on relationships. Like we talked to thousands of people. Y'all might want to listen to us. I'm like, hey, did you ever see Exercise 24 and Accommodate? It's like, Accommodate? Like, no. My son said, what he said, I said, well, who do you talk to get your relationship? He said, I listen to the Joe Budden podcast. I said, wow. Damn. Wow. I went and looked in the mirror like, damn. But shouts to Joe Budden. Like, thank you, Joe. So I think that's really great that your parents were able to, because sometimes preachers are like, hey yo, if you ain't dealing with the Lord and Savior, you get your ass out of here. Like you can't date our daughter. And so I came from a very religious family. My grandparents, my mom's parents were deacons, and they weren't pastors, but they were like that level, right? My grandfather, first pew, he was the amen dude. Like the pastor say something, yes. Amen. Like he was the hype man, and my grandmother was a great musician. So she played in churches all over, and all of my mom's brothers and sisters were musically inclined, except for my mother, who was the oldest. And she was just like, look, I'm getting out the house because my mom said, if I'm going to be having sex or whatever, I got to get married. And so that's what I wanted to do at 17, 16. So I got married and moved out. And so she was like, we don't ever have to go to church, she was on that. But all the rest of the family was still, very much connected to that. And so I was able to see, as I was going through my evolution and development, that you got to navigate, somebody's being right next to you and maybe not believing what you believe or thinking like you think, and still having a healthy respect for them, but still having ultimate conviction. And a lot of times we can't do that. So I love that you said that. And I know that in your work, I see you juggle, clients coming in and y'all be like, well, doing your thing. And I'm like, that's really good. I call Ayize like, yo, that was good. I ain't dealing with that.
But you know what? One of the things that always, and I think that I had to, I think as young people, when we're younger, we have to grow and evolve and get to a place of real understanding, because I am a fiery spirit in general. So like as a young person, as I started to explore different things, as soon as I would explore and find out something different than what I had originally thought or what have you, then I would just get mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just, forget all y'all, right? And he was always, You're always trying to teach everybody. You know, you ever been, at the cookout or at your family house and somebody comes sit down, you're like, oh Lord, they're like, so let me talk to you. Do you know about, what you eating? What's that on your plate? You eating that? Like all that kind of stuff, right? He was always dropping knowledge, right? But the thing that I know, that's the truth though. You do. Yeah. So the thing that I know though, and the thing that I think has been good for me and what we teach our children, and for anybody else who this might resonate with, is that there is no way that I could be who I am, that I could share what I share, that I could know what I know, if I did not have my father and my mother who gave me those principles, who demonstrated for me what it means to be Black, what it means to be a person who has my own relationship with God, what it means to love, and all of these principles. And the thing that I know is, and that I believe firmly, more than any one discipline or one track, is that religion is a vehicle. It's a vehicle that we all use to be able to tap into a higher power. And my vehicle might be different. Your vehicle might be different, but I really do believe, I think there's sometimes we might not be talking to the same God. Some people is just they're going somewhere else. But for the most part, I do believe that we're all connecting in with that higher power, and that higher power connects us all. And so if we really think about that, to get caught up in, and again, I used to get caught up at different times, but to get caught up in what it looks like is to miss the blessing of the elders, and the ancestors and those who have come before us, whether they be Christian or Muslim, or whatever it is, whether they are practicing traditional African religion or whether they are communing with nature or universal, like whatever it is, like that's surface right there, and it's integral to our, and for Black folks it gets real personal, right? Because it's a major part of who we are. But when you have a relationship with God and you know what it means to be in a relationship, then you know that this piece is a vehicle for me. It is a way that I express and get in touch with the God in me. But it is not strike you out because you don't come in and say those words, or what I'm saying, do like I do. It just can't be that simple. And so
that's you said it very well. That's the immature level. That's the crust level.
Yes.
And the pie is much deeper than that. People come to us sometimes because of how we're just sharing some of what our spirituality is.
Yes.
It's actually toned down tremendously just so we could have a practice and not scare the hell out of people when we were trying to serve them. But people come and find us, and like we do intakes and stuff, and I see the stuff some of these people write, and I'm like, no, I should take this. This is a space cadet right here. Like people be like, yeah, I'm from the third quasar of but I'm like, listen, we're relationship therapists. Like we're trying to help you navigate, and I appreciate, like Aiyana said, but in my experience, all of that stuff, we have to tell people all the time, like we deal with celebrities, athletes, millionaires, preachers. We deal with a lot of preachers and imams and ministers. We deal with all walks of life, and really, like, we respect that, and we're going to take care of you, and we're going to nurture that part of you. But I don't care about none of that. Like you know what I mean? And like it's like people really try to put that pretense up. And so I'm just like, hey, listen, man, like, so what's going on with y'all? Like, are you able to talk? Are you able to resolve conflict? Are you like, what's going on in the relationship?
You know what? We actually talk about that a lot, because we talk about the relationship being a vehicle for you to get in tune with yourself and develop your character, because you have this kind of outside accountability. So you can say whatever you want to say about how you communicate and what you believe in, but it's going to be another person who says, when you aren't happy, you stop communicating, or it's going to be that outside accountability that can see you in a different way. And a lot of times the reason why I think people, even in other countries, can understand, accommodate, or get on board with something like that is because it comes down to the bare basics. Like, can you communicate no matter what your spiritual foundation is or your practice, as you were saying? Because we have found that it's not anyone beyond the rules of religion it's not any one religion that has a lower divorce rate.
Right.
So
they all got the same.
especially in America,
on that.
when you can still get a divorce, like in other countries, it might not be the same because women don't necessarily have the rights to do the same things that women in the United States do. But in the United States, it's about that same, it's a coin toss.
Right.
So we talk about the fact that whatever it is that you're using, it has to be cultivating your own character. Yeah. Because if it's not making you a more honest person or a better communicator or more understanding, or like we're saying about the two of you, if it's not helping your friendship,
right,
where you can say, I love this person as a friend, I like them, so I'm courteous, I'm polite, I'm still friendly, but then I don't fall in that zone either, because you know, I'm sure you know this, we find a lot of people can stay in that roommate, you know, zone
like
where
they
you're
say,
like,
friend zone, you in the roommate
cool,
zone.
We're friends, but I have no passion towards you, no desire towards you, and then that causes issues in a relationship. Right. So I just want to ask you, you know, how I know you've had a long relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you would still maintain passion and desire, especially as much as you overlap, like working together, all the other initiatives that you're doing together that are branches of the same, you know, work, and then family, and then supporting your children as they become adults. You know, how is it that you maintain the friendship, and then how is it that you maintain the passion and desire for each other?
You want me to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, I say this all the time to folks, and this is one of the things, I think that depending on who you are as an individual and as a couple, there are certain things that come easier to you than other things, right? And so for us, our desire, so we got lucky, blessed, chosen, you know, in terms of like having a similar desire for quality time and really wanting to be with each other. Like I mean, I probably would be a little extra sometimes, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes. You know, when he just like, okay, can I go run by myself? Thank you. You know,
ain't running with me, even if I ask you to.
Yeah, no, I'm not running. But you know, like you know, come over here to sit down. You know, he wants to get out and get busy. So I mean, I think that my point is that we're well aligned in that way. So it's not hard for us to spend time. But the thing that has always been there for us is that we spend time. I think this is the one thing that people really underestimate, especially like you said, Nawasha, because you're around each other all the time. So if you're around each other, then I mean, I see you see me, but it's not the same as really carving out time. Like right now, for the last 2 weeks, or I don't know how long it's been, because I'm looking for the right thing. I've been looking for an Airbnb. We ain't been nowhere. We don't go nowhere in no streets. We'd be like, we don't want no COVID. We ain't doing nothing. But I also recognize that, you know what I'm saying? We have to find a way, like I can go in with all my stuff and sanitize, and we're going to have to figure out how to spend some time. And so I think that we have just really lifted up for ourselves in our day-to-day. Every evening, I don't care, like right now what we watching? Underground, right? We watching the Underground. We always watching something. We're always talking. We're listening to different things. We go and take a walk. We just find the time. We go to ride to the 7-Eleven together, you know, finding some space.
That's our big thing, 7-Eleven ride.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's COVID date night is like.
Hold up.
Like get that look in your eye, like Ayize, like you want to go to 7-Eleven.
Because we said that like a few weeks ago. I was like, what was it? We were going to 7-Eleven. I was like, this is a nice date. And he was like, yeah, come on. We was going to 7-Eleven. We drove slow. Then we parked in the parking lot, eating our little chips and talking, and the sky looked nice. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, it's not complicated, but I think that folks really allow that routine and the goings on of life to take over, and then people start to get so comfortable. It's like, I'm kind of feeling this. I like that I get my shows on Tuesday nights and I ain't got to worry about you and you downstairs and I'm upstairs. It kind of works for them. So then it becomes a new habit to undo. But I don't feel like we've ever really had that issue, because we really know that we got it. And sometimes we will get into a place where we're working so hard and we're doing so much, and because we work so differently, we both start to get really irritable. So I'm like irritated, which means I'm and he's just like looking at me mugging. So then we know that, okay, we have to get away, and we have to like, and we still be having the attitude, but then by the time it's done, and we
Right.
finished spending some
Mhm.
time, we feel better, but we have the discipline to even get away in the midst of the attitude. And I
Yeah.
think that's really worked for us.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing. We do that too. I came to Nawasha like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, we got to get the like we used to be on this she, he, and we time. So we got to make sure she gets her time, he gets his time, and then we get our time. But during this last year, we haven't done a lot of the separate time that we used to do.
Yeah.
And now, after several months, walls is closing in, the house looks ugly. It's like, I'm tired of looking at these walls. I'm tired of this. And so I'm like, we try to go out and let the children get a few minutes outside or do whatever. And we try to navigate, move within community, stay away from people, and, move. And, it was a time where everybody was acting kind of very antsy. So I was like saying in the washer, like, nah, don't go out without me. And, but then I started to look at her and I was realizing like this high level of stress, you know what I mean? Because we're doing our thing full time, but she's still a professor. So she's still doing some teaching. And I'm like, yo, you burn it. And then the girls are like, mommy, 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 mommy. One thing is like, they're kind of still in a phase where they ain't really talking to me that much. They don't really need that much from me in their mind. So they're like, mom this, mom that, mom. She's like, your dad is sitting right there. Like, why didn't you ask him? And I'm like, huh? So it's like, I was saying to her, listen, we need to get back on she time. So I want you to go in the daytime before it gets dark and just get a few hours away from the house and just go and do you and whatever. And so she was coming back like, what's different about me? I'm like, she's like, I got my eyebrows done, or I did this, or I did this. She's like, and I'm like, okay. And just off of that, I've been seeing just a resurgence of how she is. And so, I think that that's important that we manage that together. But now you all, this, the mighty ma'ats, as we call y'all, this whole work that you do, right? Now you got your family and you have your children, which I just love the relationship that you have with your children. All of your children, your son is in the stratosphere now. That's an interesting another thing, like that with his success and just being in this world that he's in, that's even stranger on top of regular strange.
Yeah.
But so how does Black Love and Marriage, how does Be Intentional, how does it develop in this relationship? Like, I know y'all both said, Ayize, you said before you were doing social work, or okay. And Aiyana, what was your background before you took off like what you're doing?
So social work. I mean, that's been my background, but I've been, in working in environments and management and mental health for the last decade or so.
Okay.
So that probably, that prepares you for going through like learning academically, logically about human development.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to learn it from a textbook and apply it in your jobs.
Right.
It's another thing to understand how you are developing. Like Ayize said, I can look back and see how my 19-year-old mind might have been. But you're loving each other through multiple phases. We talk about like the 7 sevens a lot and just giving a crash course on human development, but your relationship also goes through that cycle of development, right? So in the first couple of years, you are more fragile like a baby. Then you get into your passion phase and your childhood phase. So now you said 24 years, you're on this is going to be your 4th 7, right? So in your, getting away and, how do you plan for your legacy as you are doing, Be Intentional or BLAM or all the different initiatives are kind of growing through your relationship, through your personal experience, through what you've seen. Were you like a couple people were coming to because of your long history, or how do you think that it's moved to, this is something that we care about mental health, to now we're putting out our own initiative, whether it's understanding that, Black people want a certain kind of therapy or need a certain kind of therapy, even to, obviously, this is the foundation for a legacy. Whether your children pick it up or however it continues, you have affected multiple people's families, from just the old Ask Them Aunt videos that we used to watch, all the way to, like you said, a monthly membership that's going to go on for however long goes on. But how do you think that this has evolved or gone in tandem with your own relationship life cycle?
And before you answer, let me add this. One other thing, there's so many things we love about y'all. One other thing we rock with y'all hard on, when we look at y'all, just like us, we know that y'all authentic before this wave that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was really doing this before Facebook and before, like, you know what I mean? Everybody, you know, got a shirt and tie and said, I'm a coach and I'm a, like, we couldn't find, like, yo, we was looking all over the country. We couldn't find nobody. And then we found y'all. And then like a couple years later, all of these social medias blew up. And it still wasn't the move.
I think relationships are the most important thing.
Yeah,
so
it is.
People started to see relationships are important to me. I'm going to start talking about it. But it's one thing to really see someone who, even when we're going to answer a question. You know, this is coming from our mental health background, from our work with real people, and from our relationship. It's very authentic, honest, real, on time, even in changing, even in disagreeing. We used to really appreciate, like, hey, we're going to answer this question. This is what I'm going to say. This is what he's going to say, but it's still real. And you can take this information from our experience.
We love that about y'all.
Believe that. And I think that that's it speaks to your friendship that you're going together, but you're allowing room to, at the same exact time, answering the same question sometimes. You know, you're allowing this person to be who they are, without it ever compromising your union. Like, it's like whatever you believe, whatever you say, we're still at the core together. So I think that is really interesting. I know we said like 5 questions in one, but if you can.
Mine was just a salute. I just, you know, we crew now. You know what I mean? We've been crew since we met, but that's why I rock with y'all hard on, you know, y'all was doing this thing. The 4 of us been doing this thing before it became the trend that it is now.
Yeah. So
let me just say, I'm gonna forget.
Okay, go ahead.
Just one.
How you gonna forget?
I forget all the time.
Okay.
I have ADD, like, for real. I be forgetting. So let me say this real quick. I do believe that you teach what you need to learn. And I do believe that you're called to the places where you need to grow, even though I know that, you know, no matter what we're looking at, if we're talking about us and our work in mental health and counseling and relationship development, or we're looking at any category, there are certain places where you have more skills or you have more of a gift. You have, you know, I know Ayize and his intuition is by far the greatest demonstration of intuition I've ever seen. Like, I mean, you know, like, I mean, he has a whole nother level of intuition when we're working with people. And I know that, like, I can feel myself in my mind as I'm listening to people I'm taking their life and the things they're telling me, and I'm putting this over here. It's like, I can see dots connecting. And so I think that's gift. But I also know that, like, based on my background, based on me, you know, having a father who wasn't there, dealing with issues of abandonment, dealing with issues of neglect and feeling really lonely as a child. And then I developed this, like, don't fuck with me core, you know what I'm saying? Like that a part of what I needed to be able to break through to my truest, most authentic self is this man and this work. So a part of it is, for me personally, it is, and I think for you as well, but I mean, let you speak on yourself, you know, I think it's divine. I think that there's, you know, interests and little things like if you read The Alchemist, you know, there are omens and things that get your attention, and then you go and you just explore that, and then, like, whoa, there's a whole path here, you know, whoa, there's a whole nother level here. But I don't know. I mean, I always said from the time I was young, I want to help people. I want to have a is that us? Sorry about that. I want to have a community center. I want to be with my people. We always have had a passion for our people, and have wanted to do that. But in terms of the way it's specifically manifested, you know, I think a lot of it is, you know, true healing. And I think people who really understand the art of healing, it's a reciprocal process. It's a community process. It's not just, I'm giving something to you, No, I'm just facilitating, and
Right.
and you know, spirit works and intellect works and all these things work to come together, you know. So I said I was just gonna say one sentence, but
Yeah, I
you already
know.
knew that wasn't possible. So
So,
sorry.
so what I would say is, you know, for me, the experience has been, you know, in many respects similar to my wife in terms of what she's offered to me, in terms of grounding, in terms of me understanding who I am as a man. You know, in many respects, like we need something to rub up against to see where we're standing, if we're standing sturdy or if we're standing and coming in correct. And so what she's provided for me is in many respects a safe space to be able to do that. What I will say though is that early on in our relationship, when we were dealing with issues around infidelity, you know, I was on the verge of walking away, and you know, I actually talked to God, and you know, I said, "Give me a sign. Give me a sign that I need to remain, that I need to stay."
Mhm.
And what ended up happening was that, lo and behold, I entered into an organization which required us to have a mentor, and the mentor or
Mentee.
the mentee that I was working with, this person's name it was pronounced Aiyana.
Mm.
And so that like really jacked me up all the way up because again, I was like ready to move on. And so when I'm trying to get away, like I'm getting this sign, I'm getting this message, which is saying like, no, I mean, you got more work that needs to be done here.
Mhm.
And so that right there was confirmation. My wife, she mentioned going to a reading. I mean, we've been to several different readings. But you know, that entire experience has been one in which it was confirmed for me that this is where I had needed to be. And this is what needs to be, not just for us, but we have something special in reference to what we can offer to the world. And so, you know, from there, we gave birth to Be Intentional, Black Love and Marriage. And in doing that work, like it really gives us an opportunity to lean in each other. And I mean, my wife, she just said to me the other day that us sitting next to each other on Relationship Thursdays, or just even sitting here next to each other with you all having this conversation. I mean, it's a bonding experience. And
Mhm.
so, you know, y'all can't see, but we touching each other right now. My leg is touching her
Oh,
leg.
brother, it's off the hook over here.
Yeah.
She don't, you know, she every time we go live or something,
Mhm.
her little challenge to me is what can I do to make you crack? So people don't know that
Yeah.
she is footsies, hand down the back.
Yeah.
The other day she got me because I was tired. And I was saying something, I forget, was it the Barudis? It was something. I was like, but why she keep kicking me in my leg? Like she got to kick a hole in my leg. So yeah, she's a closet comedian and all of that, but she really, every time we go live, throughout it, she's gonna do something. So I can relate to that, man, 100%. I can relate.
Yeah, and what I'll also say too, just to go back to one of the questions that you asked a moment ago.
Oh, we sorry, y'all.
Y'all got clients, they want
Just to go
y'all.
back to one of the questions that you asked a moment
That's your
ago.
clients calling.
Yeah, that's actually who it is.
It is.
I know it, I know.
But check this out though. So I think that there's a sweet spot in every relationship.
Mhm.
A spot, a sacred space that only you and your wife or you and your man can occupy, that y'all can go to and really connect in. I think that some people don't ask the right questions to really find out whatever and what that spot is. When I was playing basketball, when I was, you know, way younger, my father he would say to me like, you know, put it where only he can get it. And so essentially what he's talking about is throwing a oop. And so, you know, depending upon the athletic ability of the person that's on your team, some people can jump higher, but you can place the ball at a certain point where only the man that's on your team can get it. And so when it comes to you connecting in your relationship,
Mm.
you have to recognize that there's certain sweet spots that your man or that your woman can only get, and they can only get it from you. And so if you're trying to make an assist, if you're trying to connect in, you know, you need to have number one, an understanding of what that sweet spot is, but then you got to go get it. You got to go get it. And so it's one thing to know where it is,
Yeah.
but it's something completely
Mhm.
different to go get it. And so my wife and I, like, I love connecting and kicking it with my wife. I'm going to go get it. Like I mean, there's no other option. There's no other alternative for me. There is no back door. So like, I got to go get it. And, you know, vice versa. She got to come get it too. And so we're both pursuing each other in this relationship because to me, I mean, what's the alternative? Like, I'm not living with that. Like, it's no option for me. So I'm going to put it where she going to get it, and she going to put it where I can go get it. But we're going to make sure that we're endeavoring to get to that spot that's reserved just for us in terms of our intimate connection. So, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with that.
And I think that's beautiful, man.
We appreciate you hanging in with us for the hour. But
it's been an hour already?
We want you to give any kind of like final.
Well, I wasn't done.
If you had to
encapsulate
some good words for people as they're moving. We know this, we're coming to the end of Acoma Day, where we say Acoma Day every day. We really want people to have certain principles that they're standing on for their most important relationships. If you could give a final word, and then we will segue into how you want people to stay in touch with you.
I'm going to ask one more question.
And then Mr. Edu is going to put an asterisk on there.
Okay, so final words. Yes, I can. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think probably if there was anything that I would want to leave with folks, that is that sometimes when I'm coaching folks and we done every kind of strategy and we're trying to figure stuff out, and I'm saying, you know what, this ain't a talking thing, this is an emotional thing. How can we kind of pull some stuff out? Sometimes we just get to a place where, you know, I'm like, I don't know if this resonates with you or not. I don't know, but what you need to do is just surrender. Just surrender. There's some things that there's nothing else that can be done until you surrender. You got to surrender control of the situation. You got to surrender your ego, trying to make sure you protect yourself, surrender, trying to figure everything out. Or when he does this or she does that, then I'll do this. You got to surrender. And so I think that for me, as I even heard Ayize talk about us being willing to pursue each other and go get it. I mean, I think about, I was not always there. And I realized, I don't know, at some point in the marriage, years into the marriage, I realized I was like, I don't stay mad as long. And I go over to him more than he come over to me now. You know, he used to be coming over to me because whoever has the most insight has to use it. And I was not mature enough. I had not grown, you know, in my maturity, but also in my trust of myself, that I could even like be that vulnerable. You know what I mean? And then somewhere along the way, I just surrendered and I stopped trying to just have it all together. And it just makes me feel emotional right now. Because I stopped trying to have it all together and I said, I'm going to fully be in this relationship, fully. And to fully be in something means that you cannot always predict what's coming. You don't know how what happened is going to come and sneak up on you. You don't have control, and you can be hurt. And for me, because I experienced so much hurt as a young person, and because I am a Leo, we the mighty lions, I'm like, I will fuck a motherfucker up before I get hurt again. You know what I'm saying? So it was a big deal for me. And that's why it resonates with me now. But surrender, you know, strategies, tips, tricks, that's all great. And that's all well. And it works when it needs to work. But if you ain't surrendered, none of that stuff can work. So if that resonates with anybody, if you still stuck, surrender. If you still can't figure it out, surrender. And you have to even go into ritual and practice an emotional release to surrender. And that's a personal problem. That's a spiritual process that involves you really just putting down all of the things that have been barriers. So for me, surrender would be the word I leave with folks today.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's an amen.
Yes, you know we love you. You I don't know if you're a preacher or a preacher's kid.
Oh.
I think you I see the next career coming, you know. And I think you did do a sermon a couple of times, right? Didn't you?
I spoke.
Okay. Because I remember that a few years ago. I remember that. I remember I caught it. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. I don't know, bro. Is it, you know, what would you say?
I'm gonna leave it right there with her.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Fall back. I would say that, you know, the only other thing that I was going to say and that I was going to ask you both to speak to is that, you do a lot of backstage. I was telling Ayize, like, man, I'm tired. We've been doing all this stuff, getting all this love and putting out, and you underestimate how much it is to put out of yourself, you know, and we watch y'all You know, one thing, Aiyana, one thing you said to us the first night we was all together, and we had met and we were sitting there, and you was like, and I was like, you know, we were always big on aesthetic, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, you know, yeah, you know, the binding of the book and something. And you said, hey, listen, done is better than perfect. Then as we started to, hire business coaches and started to, you know, get our thing together, I started hearing it a lot from a lot of people. Started working with millionaire masterminds. Then we got a few millionaire clients, and I'm like, everybody in the strata, they keep saying that. You know what I mean? Done is better than perfect. And so the way this S.O.U.L.MATE went, we had so much more that we wanted to share with the people. But, you know, as I was telling Ayize, I was telling you guys behind stage, like, you know, listen, done is better than perfect. It's, you know, we appreciate what we've been able to do. And this one part that was the most important, this S.O.U.L.MATE Stories part to us was the most important. It came off without a hitch. And in fact, like I said, the days that everybody, you know, oh, we had it in our mind, we want you on this day and this day. And he was like, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm here. I got to go here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And then a couple of people say, hey, I didn't respond at first, but now I am able to do it. And so it just all fell into place. And, you know, so I recognize that in this next phase that I'm going into, I've internalized that. But so I appreciate that from you, Aiyana. But, you know, you put out a lot to people. Do y'all have internal, this question is for us two. This ain't for nobody else. But we asking it in front of everybody. Do you pull back? Like, you know, we do this for a living. This is every day, all four of us. So like, how do you separate, because you give so much of Aiyana and Ayize in what you do. How do you say this part, and I guess, I don't know if that's the sweet spot that you're talking about, but how do you save something for just the two of you?
Yeah. So
yeah, I'll say something.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, what I recognize is that it would be impossible for me to give everything to everybody else and then still have something left to give to my wife and our children. And so the whole piece around saving something, like, you know, as much sharing as we do, as much connecting in, as much talking, teaching, you know, it requires in some respects a certain level of emotional vulnerability. But I'm very keenly aware that the most supreme, you know, emotional vulnerability and availability is really reserved for my wife. And you know, even pieces of that, excuse me, I may pick off and peel off and give to my children. But what I'm given is definitely not everything. And I mean, I just couldn't afford to do that. And so for me personally, what I recognize is that there's levels to this. And so my willingness and my availability, like, it's family first for me. And so I'm gonna make sure that we have rituals of connection, you know, in our home. I'm gonna make sure that we're getting our quality time. I'm gonna make sure that I'm holding my wife. I'm gonna make sure that I'm touching, I'm kissing, I'm doing some of the simple things like saying, good morning, baby. How was your rest? I'm doing all of that stuff on a daily, and like, she's touching me right now, distracted. But I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing this stuff on a daily basis, and I'm doing it consistently throughout. And so that's that sweet spot, that intentional connection where it's just reserved for she and I. And so what everybody else sees, like, it's a more didactic experience where I'm talking to you. But with my wife, I'm talking with her. And you know, I'm sitting with her, I'm holding her hands, I'm looking into her eyes, and I'm engaging her. And I mean, she's my friend. She's my friend. She's my homie. She's my lover. She's all that and then some. And so I'm appreciative of that experience, you know, with her. And so again, I am making sure that I reserve that just for us. There's so many things that you can do in the house, and maybe even in your neighborhood. Like, we're blessed and we're fortunate that it's 75 degrees right now where we are. And so getting outside and taking walks and stuff, that's something that we can do on a pretty regular basis. But even if it's not getting outside inside of your house, what can you do? And can you make it more than just about the two of you? Like, to bring family in is another way to strengthen and to reinforce the bond, because what they see, it just feeds us. So even dealing with the eels and the ahs and the turning away and the giggling and the snickering and stuff that the kids do when they see you kiss and hug. And I mean, that's cool, but you know, it's all a part of the process, and it's really reinforcing the beauty of love, and it's leaving a blueprint or setting a blueprint for them. And you asked the question about legacy. This is where it begins. Like, it begins with the four of us and what we're doing and how we're representing for our children.
But it is also, I mean, we've had to struggle over the years. I don't know if we struggle, but at different times we really did struggle in terms of, like, especially being online, because a lot of what we do is online. And, like, you know, I am a therapist at the heart of who I am. I'm a healer, and that's who he is. And so having to navigate and be in this online world, and but you know, you should make a course, and because we're trying to, you know, build our family and also make a living, and you should have this and have that. And I'm like, I don't want to do all that. This is what I do, right? Like, I talk to people. And so I think also in terms of what we give, sometimes we're like, oh, like, that was really impactful. Oh, that's great. You know, you don't see yourself. You all probably don't see yourselves all the time, and you don't recognize how when you have a gift and a calling in a certain area, that really rises up and really meets people right where they are. So I think also we know what our lane is, and we early on tried to figure out, well, maybe we could be in this lane too. Maybe we could do this a little. And then it was like, you know what? These lanes look fabulous over there on them, but they don't look right for us. We ain't organized enough. We don't know. This take me 5 hours to do this one thing, you know, versus we can get on and do what we do in terms of teaching and facilitating and sharing. And it just flows and it just rolls. So I think also accepting your brilliance and standing in that, and rejecting things that sometimes seem appealing, but they are not what you're supposed to be.
Man.
You know what I mean? I think that's
I love that, man. I agree with that so much, Aiyana. Early on, people's like, y'all should do a comic book, and y'all should start a basketball league, and y'all should have a coach. And we was chasing everything, like, oh, yeah, it's a Coma Day cereal is coming out. Like, man, we gonna keep doing what we doing, and you know, let somebody else make the cereal. And it's so funny. Washington came to me a little while ago. It was like, hey, this black guy, remember you showed me the cereal?
I
like,
did. I'm gonna have to text it to you.
Yeah,
we had like, I want to say it was a fist, maybe. I gotta get the name of the cereal, but it's in production. I saw it on We Buy Black or something that he's coming out with. He said he was in the supermarket. And he's like, you know what? I see a void. And he went into production on like a
wow.
I want to say it's a fist or something.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell is doing a fist? But I'm going to buy a box of it. If it comes out,
that's right.
I'm going to buy a box of it. Like, you know,
so if you want to say how people can follow you and continue and all the great work that you are saying, let us know what you want people to do.
Oh, they can just simply go to blackloveandmarriage.com, and you can learn more about us there. There are links there for lots of great articles and resources, as well as how to get in touch with us personally. And then we'd also love for folks to join us in our Black Love and Marriage with Ayize and Aiyana Facebook group. So we have the blackloveandmarriage.com page, but the group is a place where we are always interacting with folks, and it's a great community there. Yeah. So that's where folks can find us.
So we will reshare it. So anybody who's listening on the replay or right now can get information on the group and the website. And we are so grateful that you hung in with us for now this hour and a half.
I love y'all. The time fly. I don't want to keep y'all. Somebody in crisis and they want y'all. I love y'all so much. We thank y'all so much for all that you are and all that, you know, you have been to us over the years. Y'all know how we get down. We rock with y'all harder than hard. You know? And we love you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for being our inspirations. Thank you for being a way to see ourselves, you know what I mean? And see who we are, see who we're not, respect our strengths and weaknesses, and, you know, acknowledge our true peers who are dope in there. You know, I know Aiyana says that's my word, but you know, y'all dope, man. And we love y'all. We love your family. We you know, we try to, you know, send people your way. Ayize, man, the thing that you and I did on the daughters,
Mhm.
I don't know about you, bro, but I got so many calls and so many people that were thankful that
Mhm.
two men had that conversation. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I knew it would come over like that, and you were the only person that I had in mind like that. And I told Nawasha she had left. You know, we had a friendly competition. I was like, Aiyana's getting him tea. And you know, I mean, so I want my tea. I want a big cup. I want my tea big as his. And I want you to deliver it with a feather and you know what I'm saying? Like I can't let you outdo me with the tea now. You know, so but I love it, man. We love y'all. Keep, you know,
Love y'all
Thank
too.
you guys for having us.
keep doing what you're doing, and this wouldn't have been without y'all. So we're so glad you were able to pull away from your schedule and do it. So thank y'all so much, and you know, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, yes.
Next project coming soon.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Neon
Okay,
coming.
guys.
All
All right,
right.
y'all.
Bye-bye.